Hey guys, what's up? Mike here, and today I've got another review on 7 Deadly Sins. Now this week's chapter is chapter 207, and I gotta say, this one was a really good one. There wasn't a lot of talking and dialogue going on. We were kind of in the middle of a huge battle, but this is kind of the climax of the Holy War, so this is when it's starting to get really, really good, especially with the transformations and explanations we get in this chapter. So let's get into it. Just again, another quick reminder of where I am and why my background's different. I said this in my last video, but in case you didn't catch it, because I do upload a little bit more 7 Deadly Sins than I do Fairy Tale. But if you haven't seen that, I did do a good review on my Fairy Tale chapter yesterday, so I think that you should check it out if you get a chance. But either way, I'm at home, and I usually do my videos while I'm at school. So this week, I'll just have this background, and I'll be working with that. This chapter starts with Derriere, throwing the punch from last chapter. And I didn't really know what to expect from this punch. I mean, it did look like it hurt him last chapter, but we see that literally sent him flying. And the battles in this chapter really made me feel the angels were kind of underwhelming in a certain sense, because they just got absolutely destroyed. And it's either the angels are underwhelming or the Endura beasts are just completely overwhelming. And I think I'm going to go with the second one. Because we haven't seen the Endura beast yet, but I was just expecting a lot more from the angels. Like, we didn't really even get to see any abilities or anything, whatever. But I'll get into that in a second as we see that the other two get taken down pretty quickly, but we'll get there in a minute. At this point, when they see Derriere punch Rusidel, they basically, Galen and Fraudrin basically want to get the fuck out of there. And I don't blame them, but they kind of have a bit of a fear of these beasts. And they even look familiar, that the Galen starts to say, or Fraudrin starts to say. And he says that, wow, are these actually the Endura beasts that can only exist in the demon world? And I think they're called the Endura beasts of destruction. And Moss Beat's basically like, yeah, that's basically what it is. And these guys had to go this far in order to take out Rusidel, so he must be pretty formidable. During this scene, we actually see Fraudrin do say the whole master thing again. And it kind of just brings me back to my old video before, that just supports the fact that Fraudrin really isn't one of the main 10 commandments, and especially because of his power level. I mean, it is low, pretty low compared to the rest of them, but it is decently high for a demon. So he's enough to stick around, but he's not really enough to be part of their ranks, and he's basically a subordinate, as I said before. So, according to Mon, these Endura beasts only exist in the demon world. But when they are able to possess someone or, go into a host, they're able to come out and cause destruction out here. And you have to have a power level above 50,000 in order to be able to even try this transformation, or you'll be dead. You'll be dead. Like, there's not enough power within you to be able to withhold the transformation. And that gets me thinking a little bit, since they have to possess their host, and we know that, Derriere and Mons were supposedly supposed to lose all sense of reasoning and all sense of self. Are they even in there at all anymore, I wonder? And if that's the case, if they're not, that means that these Endura beasts are kind of having their mind of their own right now, and they don't really care about anything. And that's probably why Galen and Fraudrin were trying to get out of there, because it's actually not even Mon and Derriere anymore. It's these Endura beasts themselves, I'm guessing. With the whole 50,000 power level thing, though, we find out that everyone above 50,000 and is a demon in the 10th Commandment, which is Meliodas, Zeldaris, and Esterosa, they are all able to do these transformations. And if they are this powerful on Mon and Derriere, I can only imagine how powerful they would be on any of those three, the sons of the Demon King. It would be absolutely ridiculous and overpowered, I think. How could there possibly be anyone to face off against that, honestly? And it makes me wonder, like, there has to be something more to these goddesses. Not only did they get defeated like bang, 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 but they didn't show off any of their abilities whatsoever, or really any of their powers besides, Arc. And that's kind of disappointing, but I feel like there has to be more. There has to be more to the Goddess Clan, because, I think that part of it is going to be within Elizabeth, but I think another part of it is, something to do with their celestial realm or something like that, because they have something in the back that they're going to be pulling out. And even Rusidel almost says that he might use his trump card in this chapter. He doesn't say that, but it appears as if he's going to go all out, and that he has something more that he could have done. But it kind of gets glossed over when Elizabeth interrupts, but I'll get into that later on. So at this point in the chapter is when I really started feeling the major threat of the Endura beasts. So last week we kind of have this big introduction of Rusidel and how powerful he is, and then all of a sudden he does like a full powered blast right at Derriere, and it doesn't even phase her. Not even a scratch, doesn't even move back. And that kind of blew my mind. Like, these Endura beasts are crazy. I thought they were powerful at first, but you know, I can't express how powerful they actually are. So when Rusadel sees, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right by the way, but when he sees that Derriere is not even phased at all, he kind of just yells in and says, listen guys, you need to help me. He calls in for the other two angels, and they come rushing in like their little lapdogs they are, and they get pounded by Mom. He basically grabs them with his hands, and he has like a lot of them, about 10 I think it is, and he can extend them as long as he wants, as far as he wants, and he pushes them right to the ground. It seems like he's way, way above them, and immediately causes them, their faces to explode. An OP ability, but very, very cool. And he kind of just mutters something before, it seems like it's in a demon language or something, and he does this really, really glaring stare that's kind of just blank and murderous, and it kind of just goes to prove that, you know, Mom really kind of isn't in there right now. It's definitely more of the Endura beasts that are in there right now, and they're just kind of going crazy and doing whatever they want. And so these bodies of the angels are kind of just laying there. I don't think they're dead. I think they're very, very injured and just having a tough time regenerating quickly from the major explosions that Mon put on them right there. But they definitely deserve that. But it's so overwhelmingly powerful that I just find it hard to grasp. Right after that, Derriere goes for the attack on Rusadel again while he's kind of distracted, and she goes for the tail swing, and I was really excited to see what this tail could do. And she misses him, unfortunately, but she hits the ground and completely disintegrates it. I mean, this was incredible. This was like a major explosion of a bomb that just like disintegrates everything. I don't know another word for it, you know, that's kind of just what it looked like. And it looked like it'd be really, really amazing to see animated, to be honest with you. All of this would be amazing to see animated. So I'm really looking forward to that. Right after he realizes that he dodged her attack, Rusadel fires another blast at him, or at Derriere again, and literally doesn't even get it off before he's pounded in the stomach and sent flying again. So basically the three angels are defeated at this point. There's not much more that they can do. Rusadel is still alive, and he's just beat up. Like, he's just realized that he is kind of overpowered right now. So then we're back over at Meliodas, Elizabeth, and Diane and King, or Dolar and Glonixy or whatever, but they're looking at Elizabeth and why she's unconscious on the ground and covered in an arc. And it seems like somebody must have put that arc around her to try and protect her from demons, or if she had it around herself. I'm guessing it was Rusadel, but I'm not fully sure. Either way, Meliodas is an absolute baller. He puts his hands right through the arc, burning them completely, almost disintegrating his own hands, just to get his girl out, and he tells her everything's going to be okay. She's basically bawling her eyes out, saying, you know, I'm sorry, I couldn't stop anything. It's kind of classic Elizabeth playing the victim again. I do like her character, but that part is a little bit annoying. She always feels like she's responsible for some reason. But anyways, she steps up and she flies away. And she goes right to the fight between the goddesses and the devils, or demons, sorry. So at this point, this is when Rusadel is kind of hinting at the fact that he has another trump card that he could be using. He says basically, oh, you guys are really going all the way with this. Well, then I guess I should too. So it makes you wonder, does he have some sort of similar kind of transformation from a being in the goddess realm? And that would be super interesting to see. And I really hope, I think that they're not going to reveal it in this flashback arc, because we're going to have to see these angels fight in our current day. We're going to get the angels back somehow, so we'll probably get to see these trump cards getting shown in the current arc rather than the flashback arc, because that would be just anticlimactic if we didn't see it for the first time when we're fighting our main cast. But either way, it was an awesome fight. And it kind of ended on the fact that Elizabeth came up and she wants to stop them, and she basically goes right up to Derriere, puts her face to her face and says, stop this, you know, this isn't going on any longer. She wants peace, and that makes sense, but in a way it almost doesn't. I mean, what are you trying to gain from this, Elizabeth? I mean, seriously, if you were to stop these demons from fighting you, you think the angels would stop trying to find a way to kill them, and you think that your buddies on the angel side is just going to give up and be like, okay, well, these guys are strong now, so we'll just let them be. No, the angels think that they are the epitome of the races. You know, they think that they're the #1 out there, and there should be no, especially no demons meddling with their shit. So there's no way that Elizabeth stopping the demons from attacking is going to really help anything, I don't think, besides getting the demons sealed away. And I think that's kind of where we're headed here, but I'm not sure. It is interesting to wonder what Elizabeth is going to do, because she's shown not to have super crazy offensive magic power. I mean, during the fight with Hendrickson, she's shown to have some juice there, but she doesn't really have a lot of history of overwhelmingly powerful abilities. And in order to beat the Endura beast, you kind of suspect that she needs that. So you wonder what kind of ability will she use then, and that leads me to believe that she's going to use some sort of peace ability where she's able to instill peace into another being's mind, because she kind of did that when a bunch of the lower level demons were coming to fight in a war earlier, a couple chapters ago, still in the flashback arc, and she kind of just sent them away, and they went back to the demons and kind of just said, oh yeah, I don't really know, I didn't want to fight anymore for some reason. And it seems like she's able to just calm some beings down. I don't know if it'll work on something like the Endurance Beast, but you never know, and it would be definitely interesting if it did. One last thing about this chapter that you may not have seen in the translations, because I didn't see it at first, I kind of had to look it up. But I found out that the question in this chapter was, why did Meliodas, the question for the author, sorry, why did Meliodas not, or why did the Ten Commandments not get affected by the pacifism, Grey Road's commandment when they were killing Meliodas? And that's simply because the Ten Commandments aren't affected by other Ten Commandments. And that's a huge game changer. We definitely should have found that out before now. Why he would reveal that in a question is beyond me. He kind of just assumed, he must assume that the readers figured it out on themselves. But even still, we really didn't, and it kind of was just left in the dark for so long, and to reveal it that way seems a bit, whatever. Either way, this was a great chapter, a very, very hyped fight, and I'm excited to see next week. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and especially comment and tell me what you thought below. That's basically it for this chapter. Like I said before, it was really awesome, and that's all I got for this one, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.